All right, I'm going to put you on speaker.
Okay.
Are you still there?
I'm still here.
All right. Well, there's a question that came up when I was talking to Howard Liddick a little bit, and it was talking about how you first were made a medic.
Yeah.
And Karen mentioned something about you had been working at a hospital and all that. Could you kind of just step me through how that all came about?
Well, how I become a medic, I showed up at the 10th Armored with my rifle, and I was being a replacement overseas in Germany. And when I showed up with the rifle, they took and threw that in the river. And the guy told me, get in that half track with the Red Cross on the side, and he'll take you where you're going. So I did. And then when we got there, this was in battle. When I got to the 10th Armored, he dropped me off at what turned out to be the medics' side. And so they welcomed me. And then in the morning, that was the night, it was getting dark then, so I went to sleep. They fed me, and then I went to sleep. In the morning, they handed me, gave me another breakfast, and then they put me in the Jeep and says, take this with you, and they handed me something. That turned out to be the aid pack. And then when I got out where we were going, the guy told me, well, you get out of the car, and I did, and then take your thing with you. And I took that, what turned out to be an aid kit, with me, and then he says, report to that guy over there, that sergeant, and tell him you're the replacement. And then the guy got out, and he said, take this with you. And what he handed me turned out to be the aid kit. And so I reported to the sergeant. There was a whole field with a bunch of tanks and everything else there. And then when I says, I'm the replacement, the guy says, oh, thank God. He says, our medic, we lost our medic. And so you're our medic now. And I said, what? and he says, yeah, sure. And so as it become, I was the replacement medic, and I had never seen an aid kit in my life. and then things went on, and that's what I turned out to be, a combat medic.
So how did they select you to be a medic? I think Karen said something about you worked in a hospital or something.
Well, they asked when I got out there, the guy said that, he said that when I reported to the 10th Army, and then what they said, where did you serve in the States? And of course it's on the record, my service record. I served at Kennedy General Hospital. I went right straight from draft up here in Chicago down to Kennedy Hospital and spent 2 years there. And my job there, I was sitting next to a lady, and I was answering the telephone outside the lab that she was getting paid to do. And so then, and it was after I left that and had a little more boot training, basic training, and that's how I got over there. So I had never seen an aid kit before in my life until they handed me one, and then they sent me out. And for the next 77 days and nights, I was a medic. And that's how I got experience or learning. And fortunately, I come back, and there were some other guys that I helped, and they come back too.
Right. So I guess just the fact that you worked in a hospital is what qualified you.
Assumed that no one asked me what did I do, or I didn't have a chance to. You know, I worked in a hospital, but I answered the telephone. And I never was on a ward, I never did anything, and I never seen an aid kit until the one when I was over in battle, when they handed it to me. And I had to learn how to use that. A combat medic is trained 26 weeks of intensive training, how to take care of people and so forth and so on and stuff like that. I have found out now. But I had on-the-job training. I was sent out in combat, and I stayed with that outfit. And fortunately, I was able to help some people. You know, I had it. I got there and I said, "Damn it, Tom, you got to do something." So I started doing something, and the good Lord was with me, and myself and some other people come back. So that's the best I can tell you about my training and what I did during the war.
So I assume as time went on, you became a little more comfortable with what you're doing as the medic.
Well, I had absolutely, I had never even seen a aid kit. I never had even been in a ward in the hospital, the 2 years in the hospital.
How long was it after the Battle of the Bulge?
It was after the Battle of the Bulge. You know, they needed people.
You were limited service and so bad.
Oh, yeah. In fact, on my way overseas, going over to Germany, I seen my record, and my record said not qualified for overseas duty, and somebody had stamped void on that. So that's how I got sent over as a replacement.
Well, that's quite a story, Tom, and you filled in some of the blanks. I'm just glad you got back and that you're doing so well.
Huh?
I'm just glad you got back and that you're doing so well.
Oh, yeah, I am. But the point was, the position that I was in, I was alone, and I had absolutely no choice, and I had to do something. And so I just did something. I don't know where, I had no training whatsoever, and so forth. And so therefore, I was, and it was my experience too. There was one time there where I was hollering at him and everything else, and I didn't really know what the hell I was talking about and such, and so forth and so on. And that occasion was the night, and then after it was over with, for what I did that night is when I was presented with the Silver Star. So
The Battle of Offenbach.
the Battle of Offenbach, yeah. But I mean, I just had to do something, so I did something, and if things worked out for me, and I was able to help somebody else, so I was thankful when it was all over with. So.
All right, Tom. Well, I appreciate you filling me in there, and I feel like I know the whole story again. I know you've told it before when we were at the Western chapter, but you've helped me remember your story.
Yeah. Well, I always say I had no idea what I was doing, but I said, damn it, Tom, you got to do something. And that doing something, I did work things out some, and I helped save some people, and it turned out okay for me. My point was, and still is, I had no idea what I was doing. Because in the hospital, I sat on that right there and answered the telephone outside the lab. And that's what I did for the 2 years. See, everybody thought if I was in Kennedy General Hospital for, 2 years, I learned something. But no one ever asked me, what did I do? And I never had a chance to answer. But fortunately, whatever I did help some of the guys, and I made it through, and I come back home.
Well, thank you, Tom. I won't take up any more of your time, but it was good speaking with you, and I just hope you continue to do well.
Okay, and if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to call me because you can stir up my memory.
Okay, sounds fine. Thank you so much, Tom. You take care.
And if you ever write up something or anything, send me a copy.
All right, no, I have it recorded, and I'll see what I can do.
No, I mean it after you get done with your research and so on.
Oh, sure.
Because I would be interested, to use the expression, I would be interested to learn what I did, if that makes sense to you. But I think under the circumstances, I understand.
All right. Very good. I appreciate it again, and
I'm proud to be CIB as a member of the 10th Armored, too.
absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Tom.
All right.
We'll talk to you sometime, maybe.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.